Hello darlings, welcome to another broadcast of The Curious Mind of Raquel. I am your favorite mermaid mystic. Welcome to the broadcast. So today's video is going to be all about Trump. So we're going to discuss several things. I want to channel in and see several things. I'm going to try and name them off if I can remember, darlings. Give me a moment. So I think what I want to talk about is Trump, and just as a whole, the perspective there. I want to see what is going on with Trump and Putin and what that relationship is all about. I also would like to plunge into the Doge and that relations to Elon Musk. I also would like to find out what the situation was and what Trump thought about the Pope passing, as well as will Trump be the last president, because this has been something on the internet that has been surfacing. So let's get into it and give me a moment. Okie dokie. Now, what I feel about Trump is, obviously, every time I've channeled Trump, regardless of my political views, I'm really not a political person, but we live in Caesar's world. So we must all, we're a part of it, whether we want to be or not, to a degree, aren't we? It depends on how much attention and energy we put forward into that. So anytime I am doing this, I am using the best and most highest of the good of my energy when I'm channeling. I do feel as though Trump and Putin, I don't necessarily feel as though Trump deeply has this all, he does not have this sort of fuzzy feeling about Putin. I believe the only aspect of him is that he looks at him as an ally, sort of. He would rather stay on the right side than the wrong side, feeling as though it's better to work as a team, or so-called team, than work against one another. Now, the only thing that he does appreciate about Putin is that from the stance of, there is this sense of power that has long since been around for so long. It's almost archaic in the way that he holds power and the way that they hold power for so long, which is something that he really likes, and that he is able to be in a position of power in that way. That's the only thing he can really relate to when it comes to Putin. I think it's smoke and mirrors. Once again, that Trump is quite the master when it comes to, he's a Gemini. And Geminis can give you one thing and they can give you completely opposite the other moment. Do you understand? It's not a bad thing or a good thing. It's just two completely polar opposites. Do you understand? Now, when he was maimed or when he was shot, this really stoked some, it sort of made him think twice about his arrogance. He still is always going to be a bit arrogant because that's just his energy. You have to have a bit of arrogance. Arrogance doesn't mean you're a bad person. Arrogance means you're in control. Arrogance means that you have confidence and that you are a powerful being. There's nothing wrong with that. What has happened is people will deem people, this especially happens with women as well, do you understand? That they put this sense of, when you are an authority figure and you have this assertiveness and this strong will, this confidence and internal stalwart, and I mean, you're built for hard things. And that doesn't come easy. That is not given freely. You have to work for that. You don't become a strong, stalwart individual, firm and bold, without having been through loads of difficulties. Anyone, all of you that have had a hard road and you've still gotten up, you fall down 9 times, you get up 10. You you know, if someone's going to try and take you down, you're always going to get back up. And every time you get back up, you're not getting up because, you know, you're like, oh, no one wants to get up when we're being pushed down so long, so many times. But it makes you stronger. You have to just turn your way of thinking in the sense that I'm a strong person, not, oh, poor me. No, that's not how you become stronger. You become more resilient, and it makes for great leaders in the world. You have to have great leaders, because if you falter like the wind, no one, we've saw a prime example of that, you know. I'm sure you've seen it in your family, in business, your bosses, your friendships. If they falter, you know, when you're needing a friend to bolster you up when you're having a really difficult time, and they're not there, they're fair weather friends, you find that, you know what, oh, they're not really my friend after all, are they? You don't want them by your side. As soon as something hard comes along, and then it's just like, oh, I don't know you. What are you talking about? So that's what I'm saying. It's very important, regardless, take politics aside. We're talking about the person. I don't care either or. Okay, the other thing that we're going to talk about is the Doge thing, right? The DOGE. I'm saying it DOGE because I don't really even know what it stands for. I know that sounds terrible, doesn't it? It sounds absolutely ridiculous. I'm so sorry. Pardon me on that. I don't really know. But what I'm feeling though with that is Trump views Elon, for him, is a bit of a wild card. He's also an enigma. He doesn't really understand. He can't figure him out. He's saying, oh, one day he's one way, one day he's the next. I'm not quite sure about this one. You know, he's not necessarily a loose cannon, but it's sort of like he's playing chess with the entire world, and he's just thinking, okay. Now, I do feel as though Trump is viewing everything as utilizing anything and everything he can in order to get the things that he desires. And he feels as though Trump really is coming from a place in his energy, regardless of what you think, his energy is coming from a place of ultimately wanting to do the right thing. Does he have a little of ego because he's thinking, you know what, I'm going to show you now even more. You tried to kill me so many times. I'm going to really show you. Yes, he does. He has this arrogance about him. But once again, everyone loved his arrogance when he wasn't president and he wasn't presidential. Everyone loved his arrogance when he was on the reality shows and all of those sort of things. When he's a, you know, crude businessman in Trump Towers or whatever, everyone really, really appeased him. They liked him. They thought he was grand. But now it seems as though that he has touched on so many people's wounds that it's not about Donald Trump. It's about touching on the wounds of the human being that is behind the person that is so irritated about this particular person. If he was a man on the street and he would not offer you a sandwich. This is what you've got to understand. People are so outraged by him, but it's really an internal reflection of yourself. The things that you're so irritated about him, there's something within you that you don't like, and you have not reconciled within your soul. And you're not, and many people aren't going to like that I'm saying that. And the truth hurts, isn't it? That's a long-standing truth, is that the truth hurts. The other thing that I really want to touch on is I don't feel as though Musk is going to be around for the long term, because I do feel as though it was a moment in time that he was able to do the things that Trump needed, and he also in turn was receiving this sense of okay, well, Elon Musk did not think it was going to go according to how it has at this present moment. And I think he's basically, no offense, but he is getting out of Dodge, because he's thinking, this is too much for me. I would rather be working on calls and doing all those bits and bobs than having to deal with these kind of, like, because he thinks what most of the world is absolute lunatics, you know. And it's like the lunatics came out, and he really doesn't want any more part of it, but he does love kind of sticking it in there to the people that didn't, well, that this has more to do with him wanting to have like the last word. For example, people that maybe didn't invest in Tesla, or people that pulled out of Tesla, or people that didn't help him or were against him when he was buying Twitter. He is wanting to stick it to them. And this was his way of cascading that. Do you understand? Yes, he was wanting to mask it with this, and this was the perfect opportunity for him to do so, and it actually worked. Now, the other thing I feel as though I need to say also for Elon, it's not because he's scared or terrified that he wants to pull out. He is more concerned about his children. He feels as though they are going to become quite a bit of a target if they've not already. And he is very, very upset about that. It has made people put their eyes more on his children and the women that have borne his children. And you're going to see more articles come out, more broadcast, more YouTube, more sensationalism when it comes to his family digging dirt. The people are digging, they're rummaging through, they're digging and disemboweling all sorts of things to try and dig stuff up. So you will see more articles on the interweb pertaining to Mr. Musk. Now, the other thing about the Pope, I do believe I saw, my husband told me, he's always my husband is like my ears and eyes, and he keeps things up to date with me. But he said that Trump is supposed to attend, I do believe, supposed to attend the ceremonies for the Pope. He doesn't really, I hate to say this, but he doesn't really care too much about the Pope. He is looking at it as, oh, this is great, because now he is going to have an advantage. Do you understand? And the reason for this is because out with the old, in with the new. And what I mean by that is this kind of mentality of religion is, I'm telling you, I've been telling you this in video upon video upon video. We are in the age of Aquarius. It is the Christ consciousness of the next 1,000 years. It will be the disemboweling of religions. They will all start to fall, because I see in the Mormon church, I see the temples falling, in the Catholics, I see synagogues, I see all four corners of the earth. These religions will begin to fall. And the more that they begin to fall, on the internet is going to become, you're going to see these people trying to hold on for dear life. Because what's happened is, when Trump became in office, people began to shift their mental, religious, Christian paradigm onto this becoming the new cult. Does that make sense? Almost in a sense, Trump liked that to a degree, because it gave him a cult-like following. It gave him the votes. It gave him all of these things that he had needed for the presidency, for him to win the presidency. And so, but what has happened is people are cloaking religion with presidency, and they're mixing the two together, and it's not supposed to be like that. You need to have you shouldn't mix church and state. You should not do that, because that was the downfall originally. Do you understand? So we need to remember, if you happened, which most of you that are watching this channel are not usually, I mean, not Christians to the degree, you're more so spiritual people, because you're watching a mediumship, you know, and people have shifted their paradigm and their way of thinking and their belief systems onto this confirmation again, onto the Trump administration, which is very, very dangerous to do. And the reason so is because you have this fanatical driven mentality from Christian people, because Christians are not good alone. They have to be in groups, because they're driven by fear. That is how the churches created religion, is to live in fear. So you have to have large groups of people. But this created this kind of mentality of this cult-like following. Now, Doge is only popular because the internet's made it popular, to be quite frank. Social media has made it popular. if people start and begin to turn their attention away from that type of mentality and just say, you know what, we're going to lean into the things that are positive, like this, understanding things from a different perspective. This is what I'm trying to offer in my channels, is that the old needs to die out in order for the new man to rise again. Do you understand? And so I know you understand, but that's just my way of talking, that turn of phrase, might you? That is exactly what it is. This is the advantage that Trump wants, in the sense that this is going to create this falling away to a degree of the Pope and the church being such a big influence. Because if you don't know that, darlings, the Catholic Church have massive influence on America and on our government. And so if you don't know that, now that you do, Trump feels as though this is a really good way for him to kind of move in for his agenda, you know, perhaps making it where it's, you know, where the Catholic Church was so big and everyone paid attention to it, and it moved and swerved and swiveled and caused things to happen that normally wouldn't. Now Trump feels as though, clean slate, now we can start to implement the things that I want to. And it's going to be hard to rebuild that, because once again, Trump believes that he has sort of like been divinely chosen. You know, it's this sort of, it's an ego trip to a degree. Yes, it is. We all have egos, but we need to keep them in check. And egos are not bad. We just need to learn to steer them properly and be the helm of the ego, because we all have them, so we shouldn't judge. But some people allow their egos to get way ahead of themselves, and so many people do it when they get put in positions of power. So this is why it's very important, because if you knew you were a god, because you are, every one of you watching this is a god and a goddess, then you understand the power that you hold. And you are just as powerful as Trump, my darling, or the Pope, or the Queen of England, or the King of England, or whoever, or Putin. You're just as powerful, if not more powerful. Do you understand? So always remember that. No one is ahead of you. No one is below you. No one's beneath you. No one is above you. We're all equal. The other thing that I want to say is, will Trump be the last president? No. But there will be a dividing of this sense of people will go off, and it'll be the same thing, but just keeps turning. Like I said in the last video, is that you keep flipping it and you keep flipping it, the sands of the hourglass, you keep flipping it, it's a new world created. A new world in the sense that if you timeline shift and you ascend and you expand, you no longer, you don't resonate with people probably that you went to high school. You're like, oh, I used to love to party with him. And now you're like, no, I don't even have anything in common with that person anymore. That's what I mean. That's what spirit means. That's what the universe means when it's, you no longer resonate with that particular person, with that particular vibe, with that particular energy. That's all it means. The world is never going to end in the way. It's not a literal. The Bible is not literal, darlings. It's a metaphor for your life. The hierarchy of religions got together and created this Bible to control over you and indoctrinate you with fear, so that you will never look outside that. But you have, obviously, because you're like me. You were in 2 religions, 3 religions, and none of them worked. And so that is your higher being saying, no, this is nonsense on stilts, and I'm not having it another day. Do I appreciate and respect people with religion? Absolutely, I do. I love all my Christian friends, but it is not something that I subscribe to, and I feel not an ounce of guilt for saying that. It's taken me a long time to get into my power, return to my power of knowing that I am a god and a goddess. And once we all know this and we awaken as Jesus did, Jesus wasn't, you were Jesus, you were God. God became man so that he could become God again. The world is never going to end. There's not going to be a rapture. The end of the world is not coming. It's a fear tactic, darlings. It's always a fear tactic. And you can always use your inner guidance system, your mermaid inner guidance system. If you feel not resonant with something and it is evoking fear in you, you know it is not of your highest good. That's so easy to go, you know what, that doesn't feel good to me. Oh, that's absolutely rubbish. That's absolute rubbish. And so if we can learn and teach our daughters especially, and our sons too, but teach our daughters not to worry about that nonsense. And it's like everyone's drinking seawater. You know what I mean? Like, no. That's never going to happen. You know how many times we were supposed to have a rapture since I was a wee child? Yeah, there was probably like 7 raptures I've been through when the world was ending. Do you know how horrifying and terrifying that is for a young child, especially to continually go through that, have to watch that and feel as though, you know, oh, I might be driving the car and oh my God, what happens if my mommy leaves me and we crash into the tree? I mean, what kind of nonsense? And then we sit there and think, oh, spirituality is weird. Oh, that's woohoo. Oh, that's witchery. But yet you talk about a man living in the belly of a whale. I mean, splitting of the Red Sea, the water turning into wine, and all of these things are supposed to be, oh, what do you mean? That's not weird. And yet I'm weird. I'm weird. I mean, think about that. Think about the fact, I don't know how this became a religious thing, but just bear with me, all right? Think about if you love your child. This is what never made sense to me as a Christian, right? You love your child so much, but yet if they did one little thing, because they broke a commandment, right? Broke a commandment. You are going to put them in the oven and burn them for an eternity. You're going to put them on fire and burn them for an eternity. How ludicrous does that sound? That absolutely is bonkers. It's maddening. And I'm like thinking, for example, I'm thinking, and I believe that stuff. I believe that rubbish. Oh my word, what is wrong with me? But when you're indoctrinated and taught from a little child to fear everything in your life, no wonder we walk around like, I'm scared. You know what I mean? It's like, no wonder. So now we have to reprogram and rechange our subconscious minds and create new belief systems. I hope that you enjoyed this video. And as always, I'm most affably yours. Until my next one. Cheers, darlings. Toodle pip.